Hi class, as I told you yesterday, I am gone today, traveling to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where our West High girls basketball team will be playing nationally rated Hopkins, Minnesota tomorrow afternoon at 3:45. I am very appreciative of Miss Hanson for coming in today to show you the video and help you with any issues that you may have in math class. Please be respectful, responsible, and safe in classes today. To start class, please solve the 6 problems listed on the board and take attendance. Please pause the video, and when I come back, I will show you the answers, and hopefully you will have the correct ones. Thanks. There are many different answers for these since this was estimate the sum or difference. This first one, they said 160 plus 100. The sample answer was 260. The second one, the sample answer was 220. 150 minus negative, which means add the opposite of 70, which gives us 220. In this one, we have different signs, so we need to subtract. They estimated this to be negative 240, this to be 100, which gives me an answer of negative 140. In the fourth one, they estimated to be negative 1,200, 30 times negative 40. In number 5, the sample answer was approximately 19. They estimated that to be 190 negative divided by 10, which is negative 19. In the last one, they said negative 50 times 10, negative 10 is 500 because a negative times a negative is a positive. Today, our essential question is, how can you use models to estimate percent questions? We will also be doing a proportion so that we can solve percent problems using a proportion. The key idea that we will be talking about today is the percent proportion. You can represent A is P percent of W with the proportion A over W equals P over 100, where A is the part of the whole W, and P percent, or P over 100, is that percent. Another way to think of this is over of equals percent over 100. You can see here 3 out of 4 is 75%. 3 of 4 equals 75 over 100. In the first example, what percent of 15 is 12? We wrote the proportion A over W equals P over 100. Another way to think of that is over of percent over 100. In order to substitute these, I see the part is 12. Is on the top, so 12 is on the top. Of 15 is the whole. Of goes on the bottom with the whole, so 12 over 15 equals P, the percent that I don't know, over 100. We can then multiply both by 100 and simplify to get P equals 80. Another way to think of this is 12 times 100 equals 15 times P. Therefore, we will have 15P equals 1200, and then we will divide by 15. That is how we get our 80. So 80% of 15 is 12. In our second example, what number is 36% of 50? We are looking for the part of the whole to equal the percent of 100. Is over of equals percent over 100. I do not know the part, the is. What number is a variable. I know that we have 50 whole ones of 50, of goes on the bottom. We know that 36% can be written as 36 over 100. We multiply 50 times 36, and then we will divide by 100. When we multiply 50 by 36, we get 1,800. We then divide by 18, and we get A equals 18. So 18 is 36% of 50. In our next example, 150% of what number is 24? I can set up the proportion as A, which is the part, of the whole equals the percent of 100. Is the part, I see 24 as is. Of, I am not sure, so I'm going to leave it W. The percent is 150, so my proportion sets up like this. When I cross multiply, I take 24 times 100 equals 150 times W. Multiplying 24 times 100 gives me 2,400. Multiplying this gives me 150W. I will then divide by 150, and my answer is W equals 16. So 150% of 16 is 24. Hopefully this makes sense to you because the 150 is larger than the 100, so our 24 needs to be larger than the whole of 16. Please try these 6 questions by using the proportion to solve the equation. Please pause the video and allow the students time to work. When completed, start the video and I will share answers. Hopefully you were able to solve the 6 problems. In the first one, 3 is the part, 5 is the whole. Is over of is percent over 100. When I cross multiply, I get 5p equals 300. The percent is 60. In the second one, 25 is the part. Of the whole is 20. Is over of equals percent over 100. 2,500 divided by 20 is a percent of 125. What number is? I do not know that, so I don't know the part. I do know that the whole of 60 is that. The percent is 80 out of 100. When I multiply, I get 4,800 divided by 100. A equals 48. So 48 is 80% of 60. Number 4. I do not know what number is the part, so that is A. The whole of 40.5, that's the whole, so I have 40.5 there. 10% is 10 out of 100. When I multiply this and divide by 100, I get A equals 4 and 5/100, 4.05. 0.1% of what number is 4? Is the part. What number is the whole is what I'm trying to find. 0.1% out of 100. I can then cross multiply and get 400 divided by 0.1. W, the whole, is 4,000. In our last example, half is, that's the top, 25% of what number? So if this is the part, I am trying to find the whole because I have of what number. The percent is 25 out of 100. I take 1/2 of 100, which is 50, and divide by 25. W equals 2. Hopefully you were able to solve those 6 problems. In our first word problem example, This bar graph shows the strength of tornadoes that occurred in Alabama in 2011. Tornadoes are labeled by EF0, EF1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, 5 being the strongest. What percent of the tornadoes were EF1s? The first thing that I need to do is find the total number of tornadoes. When I added 36 plus 58 plus 29, 13, 7, and 2, I got 145 total tornadoes in 2011. The number of EF1 tornadoes was 58, which is the part. Now I can set up my proportion. The part of the whole is over of equals percent over 100. Substitute in the part for A and the whole for 145, and you get 58 over 145 equals P over 100. In order to solve, we will then take 58 times 100. We will get 5,800. We will divide by 145, and our answer is 40. 40% of the tornadoes in Alabama were EF1s. In a continuation problem, this is saying 20% of the tornadoes occurred in central Alabama on April 27th. How many tornadoes does this represent? For us to solve this, we don't know how many tornadoes occurred in central Alabama on that day. We do know from our last slide that there were 145 total tornadoes. And we now know that 20% occurred in central Alabama. Our problem and proportion is set up as X over 145 equals 20 over 100. When we multiply across, we get 145 times 20 equals 2,900. We then divide by 100 and we get our answer of 29 tornadoes. In our final example, an average of 1,253 tornadoes occur in the United States each year, and about 12.5 or 12.5% of them are in Texas. About how many tornadoes does Texas have each year? I have set up a proportion because I'm wanting to know the part of the tornadoes that occur in Texas. This is the whole of 1,253. The percent is 12.5 over 100. When I cross multiply 12.5 times 1,253, I get 15,662.5. When I divide that by 100, my answer is about 157. The answer is actually 156.625, but since we cannot have 0.625 tornadoes, we will round up to about 157. As a reminder, we can set up the proportion as part over whole equals percent over 100. Another way to think of it is over of equals percent over 100. Hopefully you understand finding proportions while using a proportion. Today's homework is page 230 and 231. You will be doing problems 6 through 30 even, and you will do problem 31. Have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday. Go Trojans!